computer yet. Okay. All right, so I'm really, really excited about this. I want to share a couple of things. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Carly, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened either. Oh, I pressed record, so maybe it like jumped something. So here's what I want to mention. I want to start out by saying, and this comes, a lot of these are going to come, things that I've heard from this Preston Pugmire. He's a life coach. And I like the way he does things, even though it might sound like other coaches that you've heard. He's very specific. Do this, do this, do this. And before he even gets there, he talks about mindset. And we've heard mindset will eat strategy for breakfast or something like that. And no matter what your strategy is, if your mindset is not right, the strategy doesn't matter. It's kind of like we say, it doesn't matter how good your food is. If your gut is not healthy, you're not, or no matter what you're eating on your plate, if you're dealing with stress and all these other life things, you're not going to be healthy. We understand what that means, that you can have the best intention of something, but it doesn't work out for you. So I want you to think about this statement. What you focus on expands. Has anybody heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
So what you focus on expands. You need to focus on what you can control. All right, so what would be an example of that? Somebody got an example? What would that look like if you're focusing on something and it's expanding?
You can focus on your schedule and time blocking to make sure that you are putting the non-negotiables in there, and then you can see your room for where you can do other things that are important to you that might not be the non-negotiables.
Okay. So let me give you an example of what it would look like in a negative sense. Okay. I get on here, Kathy's on here, and I said, how you doing? And she goes, I'm busy. Okay. So let's say that someone focuses on, I'm busy. What might that do for us? If we focus on the fact that we're busy, that busyness is going to expand. And I think what happens in our mind is we start looking and going, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And we get caught up in that busy mindset of I'm too busy. And we end up taking on things that we probably could have said no to, right? So, but that expands. So instead of thinking, wow, look at all that I'm doing, look how productive I am, we're focused on, look how busy I am. So which word is better, more positive, busy or productive? Productive. So if I say, so Kathy, how are you doing today? What are you going to say, Kathy?
Productive.
I'm productive. And I could say, oh, that's awesome. Like, what are you doing? And in that positive excitement for you, you're going to say, I've painted, I fed the horses, I've reached out to this person. Like all of a sudden, instead of feeling busy, you have this positive mind of, I'm productive. Total different mindset, visual, right? So I want you to focus on things that you can control, and what you focus on will expand. So here's another idea for that. I focus on the fact that people won't respond to me. Does anybody have an issue with that? You message people and they don't respond? I can focus on that. And so what happens in my mind is I go to type up a message to someone and my mind immediately says, they're not going to
respond. Why bother?
Exactly. And so my state of mind, my physiology, I start to crumble because I'm thinking, well, they're not going to respond anyway. Well, maybe I'll do it tomorrow when I feel better. So if I focus on they don't respond, then that's going to expand. I'm going to have that mindset that people don't respond. I'm going to focus on people not responding. What can I control? I can't control if they respond. I can control how I feel about it, that I don't let it attack me, and I can focus on, I can continue to message other people, right? So I want to focus on things I can control. I can't control the spending of my daughter, but I can control how many times I give her money,
Mm.
right? It changes it from being a negative to being a positive. So that's the first thing I want you to think about. The next thing, I should have done this on my phone so I could use my whiteboard. I'm gonna have to get a whiteboard. I want you to have in your mind, as we start working towards what are your goals and how we're gonna get there, because I don't want to take up 3 hours of your time, although I've got enough information now. Okay, let's see, I need a marker. It's gonna be backwards, isn't it? I gotta look at something. Oh, it would be on this page. You are either avoiding or pursuing. Is that backwards or forwards?
Forwards.
Okay.
Say that again. You're either what?
Okay. So if you have a piece of paper, you can do this. It doesn't have to be a whole page. It just has to be like 2 lines worth.
Avoiding and pursuing.
Avoiding, and you're avoiding. Oh, Wendy. I'm going to tell you one of my limited mindsets, my limited thinking, is that I'm not organized. And I always come up with ways to show that I am not organized by going, oh, well, I'm using the same page. All right, so I'm going to write this down and then show you. Fear and rejection. So avoid fear or rejection. You're pursuing connection. We might call it love and growth. Okay, so I want to show you. At any moment in your day, and it doesn't have to be business related, but at any moment, you are either avoiding fear and rejection, or you are pursuing connection or growth or love. So think about that for a moment. If I am afraid that people are going to think I'm nuts for what I'm doing, if I am afraid of rejection, I'm tired of hearing no, then I'm avoiding these things because I'm more comfortable there. Does that make sense? So if I avoid this, what will I won't take actions that might be causing me fear and rejection. All right, so in plexus, I don't want to message, I don't want to pick up the phone, I might not bring it up, I might not follow up with somebody because I'm afraid they might reject me. And that's an uncomfortable place to be, so I'm going to avoid it. You can't be in both places at the same time. If I want to build my business, then I'm looking for connection with people. Maybe it's not even love, but acceptance. So if I'm pursuing acceptance and connection with people and growth, I have to understand that it's possibly going to lead to fear and rejection. Does this make sense? I've got some wrinkled foreheads, right? So if I'm going to avoid rejection, that means I'm not going to build my business. We are going to be rejected, correct? Our ideas and our offers are going to be rejected, and it's okay. But if I'm avoiding it, I'm not going to move forward. I need my fear of, I guess I should say, okay, I need my fear of staying in the same place I am today to be that fear has to be worse than this fear of pursuing. Okay, stop, dog. Go get a bone. So if we choose to do this, we have to recognize that we might experience this, but it doesn't mean that we should quit. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Any questions about that piece?
Just repeat that part about fear of staying in the same place again.
Okay, so let me give you an example. It'll help you understand, then I can restate it again.
Okay.
I'm really comfortable financially, okay? At Emerald, with a solid team, my husband's finances, I'm comfortable. It doesn't hurt me. If I project 1 year from today, so you each think about this for yourself, if you change nothing today, you change nothing this year, and next year on October, or whatever today is, the 2nd, if we come back on October 2nd, what will life be like for you? If my life in 1 year is the same as it is today, I have nothing that drives me to change, okay? My fear of, my fear has to be greater. Like I have to have a worse fear of staying the same than of the rejection, right? Like if I have a fine life, I don't need to reach out. I can avoid fear and rejection because I really don't need it. So I can avoid it all I want and wait until it comes to me and someone says, wow, it's been 5 years and I hear you're doing Plexus. Can I join you? Perfect. I like it. But if I want to make a change and I want to reach these goals, then I have to decide, what is it? Do I want to be in a different place a year from now? Okay. And that's where we have to start changing our mindset of, I asked my mom this today because, financially she's doing a little bit better, not great. And I said, well, Mom, you're fine. Your bills are paid. You're eating. Why would you need to build your business? And she goes, because it could fall apart from me. Like if my stepdad were to pass away, all of her money would go with him. And that's a fear for her, that she wouldn't be able to continue. So her fear of staying the same is far worse than her fear of starting to talk to people, okay? So that's what we need to do, is make sure that we just start switching the mindset. What are we doing? What are we thinking, okay? And that's where we are either, every day you wake up, what you choose to do is either out of a fear, you're avoiding fear or rejection, or you are pursuing connection and growth. When you wake up in the morning, your choices of the day will either have you avoiding this or pursuing this. Okay? Got that? All right. I want to make sure that some of these things really hit home before I have you start thinking of your goals. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go through a couple of things that have really impacted me over the past couple of weeks. And I put it in our chat, in our message group, that there are these steps, and that's one, you set the goal, and you want to be very specific. So I want to share with you what I have learned so far about my own mindset. The very first thing that we had to come up with was why I won't set a goal, or why I have a fear of something that's keeping me stuck. Okay, and so I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here with you guys. Remember that this is my fear, my feelings and thoughts. It might seem irrational to you because of I'm an Emerald. It might seem irrational, but it's still mine, which makes it rational to me until I figured it out. And this is why I like Preston Pugmire, because it was in this that I started really processing and going, why? Why am I afraid? Why do I have fear? Because I don't have a fear of telling people about Plexus.
Me either.
I don't have a fear that they're going to tell me no. So
Yeah.
why won't I keep adding new people to my business? Here's my fear. And it took a while for me to figure it out. Comes from limiting beliefs. And this is, I'm going to have you guys kind of go through this. It's limiting beliefs. So here are my 2 limiting beliefs. These are the things that keep me from moving forward. Number 1, I don't have what it takes to lead someone to success. You're looking at an emerald ambassador. Does that sound silly? Right? There are diamonds who don't believe that they have what it takes to lead someone to success. They've reached diamond, but yet they still doubt themselves. So I had to sit there and go, because I don't know if some of you have heard me say it. I don't work towards incentives. I don't care about going sapphire. I don't care if I build a big team. If everything fell away, I would just keep taking my products, right? Those were all fluff because I was afraid that I don't have what it takes to lead you to success, whatever your success might be. Limiting belief number 2, that I'm so disorganized that I can't do things consistently and successfully, so it's going to fall apart anyway. Now, those are examples of my limiting beliefs. So my fear is that I can't lead someone to success. So I would be better off getting them on products and not having them want to build a team, because that scares me. Because if they want to build a team, I don't know what to do. You know? So that was something that I'm having to deal with, and I'm learning. Then from that space, I had to ask this question. And the next question is, what triggers those thoughts? So if I have this thought that I'm no good, I can't lead somebody, what triggers it? And when do I feel the most fear around the fact that I can't lead you? It's when an incentive is brought up. So look how that triggers me, an incentive. Have 3 people join and you get this. 6 people and you get a pair of shoes. And I immediately go, 6 people? I can't lead them to success. I'm not doing that incentive. I don't care anyway. I'll just go buy my own shoes and have them now. Who cares? Right? I can take away, I was using, hey, well, my strength is loving people. I don't care about incentives, so I'm not going to fight for that. It all comes down to my fear, y'all.
Those are some pretty nice shoes, though.
I know, but I just go
And
by myself.
they run $100 a piece. I was checking them out in Tennessee. I was like, holy cow.
Right? But do you see how my fear has attacked me for 5.5 years now?
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
So do any of you fear that you can't lead someone?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I made it to Emerald, not knowing how to lead. So why can't you? Because we have an amazing team, that's why. And because we have people that are going to help us. All right, so let's go to this next piece then. What happens when, here's another trigger for me. When do I get scared? When I see people posting all over Facebook, I added 3 people. Congratulations to this person because they won the necklace. Congratulations. And I'm just like, I'm not going to do that. Are you kidding? Because then I'd have to teach them and train them. I can't do that. So I would fall away. So what are the actions that I do when I'm having that fear? I retreat or I withdraw from my team. Some of you would know this about me. All of a sudden it's like, hey, where's Wendy been for 3 months? I don't know. They were doing some 3-month incentive. She left. And then I come back. When it's back to just me, I'm okay. I retreat, I withdraw. I stop going into team pages. I don't want to be in there. I don't post on social media about business. And I just become really busy with life. My excuses are just mounting. And for me, when I realized that was happening, I went, wow, I just peeled off this huge thing that's been overshadowing me, and I'm ready to move forward, and I can do it. So now, what are the negative consequences of our fears? When we have these triggers, what is the action that I do? I stop posting, I stop telling people, and I stop reaching out. And the negative consequences, I've lost tons of level ones. I've lost tons of customers. My income stays static or decreases. My team doesn't grow. I disappear. Those are the consequences of my actions. So now I need to rewrite my story. I'm no longer going to be triggered by that. I have to change. So you remember Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? You guys know that piece, right? That means when I see an incentive, hey, add 2 new people this month, my first thought is my brain is going to say, you suck. You're not a good leader. You better not do it. And I listen. So instead, when I see the incentive, my first thing is I need to commit that my first action will be, I'm going to reach out to 2 people. I'm going to step up and reach out to 2 new people. Or if that scares me, I'm going to call one of you guys. And I'm going to say, hey, how are we going to do this? Because I get momentum by being around a team that's growing. Okay? So here's what I want for you guys to be thinking. I want you to think of what is your limiting belief. And it could be the same as mine. I don't know how to lead. My mom told me her limiting belief is, I don't know what to say to people if they have die-off or if they have a problem or if I don't know what product. She says, I don't know what to say to people. And my response to her was, do you know that I went senior gold and I didn't know a thing? How many of you started on the product because the person was excited and said, try it? A higher percentage is willing to jump in and try it because you're excited than the fact that you could rattle off the 15 die-off symptoms and why it happened. Right? So I knew nothing and I made it to senior gold. And when I needed to know, I went to Angela. And there's so many places we can go. So I want you to think, what is limiting you? And then what triggers those thoughts? Is it an incentive? Is it somebody saying, well, what's in it? Because if you're afraid they're going to ask what's in it, you might not bring it up. And you're going to spend hours researching product ingredients, trying to figure out what it's doing so you can tell someone when they don't care anyway. Okay. So now let's get to your goals. Somebody in our training said she didn't like feeling pushy or salesy. Anybody worried about that?
No.
No? Awesome. When do we feel pushy or salesy? We might feel pushy or salesy because we're trying to convince someone, right? If you're having to convince someone. And so this woman was talking with Preston on the call, and she said, well, I don't want to sound salesy. I don't want to have to twist their arm. And his words were, well, if you're twisting someone's arm, then you're talking to the wrong person. Okay, the light bulb went off in my head. How many times do we feel like we're saying the wrong thing? They're not buying because we said the wrong thing. That's false. We said the right thing, but we said it to the wrong person. And you know, we learn from mistakes. You have to talk to a bunch of the wrong kind of person to figure out who the right person is. The more wrong people you talk to, the more you narrow down what is the right person. So here's an example. When my mom started, she was talking to all of these really heavy, sick, unemployed women in her life. They couldn't afford the products. They aren't on social media, like all of these things that would not allow them to believe and have the money to pay for the products and have a vision of financial freedom. And so they wouldn't stick with her. Recently, she has talked to a couple of people, a 27-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 32-year-old, and they're going, I would love to stay home. I'm interested in this. Can you talk to me more? So I went, okay, you talked to all of the wrong people. Now you've talked to a couple of people who are interested and have money. They're the right people. So now you start to attract the right people, right? You're looking for a certain person instead of just blasting it out everywhere. Okay? So if you're feeling like, but I don't want to be pushy, you're not being pushy, you're offering something. If they see the value, then they're the right person. If they don't see the value, they're the wrong person. Okay? So take that off of your shoulders. All right. It was great that you guys started putting in how much money you need to make. And I thought it was really interesting. Anju, I'm going to use you for a minute because you said $300. $300. And the way that I figured this out is that I said, okay, you want to make $300. I'm going to divide that by 3 because pay points are $3. So I divided by 3. It gave me a number of 100. And then I divided that by 5 because that's the number of points per person. Okay? So divide your dollars. So this is what you would do with your level 1s. Divide the dollar amount they want by 3 and then divide by 5. It probably works if you do divide by 5, divide by 3. You're going to get the same, but number they want, divide by 3, divide by 5. That's going to give you a number, and that's how many people in levels 1 to 3, all worth 5 points, that you would need. That's going to give you pay points only. So we don't have to worry about commission. Did I have 500 PV? Did I have 200 PV? Right? Or what they're doing. That's just strictly pay points. So Anju, when you said 300, that's 20 people on your team from levels 1 to 3. 20 people also happens to be a magic number because if you have 20 people in levels 1 to 3 doing 100 PV, you have reached gold. And gold is closer to an average of $1,000 a month. But the pay points are closer to 3, like that $300. But it's all the extra stuff that goes in. So when you think of it that way, you're going to build a solid team by working small chunks. So Anju, how many people do you have on your team? 0. Okay, I'm going to unmute you for a minute. Unmute. I can't. It's not letting me unmute you. You do it.
Okay.
Okay, so my yellow friend, my yellow sweetie.
I have 3 people, okay? I have 3 people. It's me, myself, and I.
Yes, that's excellent.
How about that?
That's excellent. So you have 0, you need 20. So it would be wrong for you to say to yourself, I need to go gold. And so that means I've got to have 20 people. How overwhelming is that? That's not moving a needle a small amount. So what we want to think about for you is we want to get you 3. We want to get you 3 so that we get you silver in that 3 and then help them to go silver each. I don't want you to think I have to have 20 right now. I want you to think move the needle a little bit. Okay?
Yeah.
So you think about those steps. So I'm going to, Anju, since I'm talking to you, I'm just going to work with you for that. Okay, we said you wanted $300 a month. We're going to say that that's 20 people on your team. So we have to go, okay, what are the next steps? The next steps are going to be where you start planning out your schedule. Is it going to be, I'm going to plan another sip and see or sip and share? Is it going to be that as you're blocking out time, one of the suggestions that Preston mentioned is that you stop. Yeah, no. I'm going to ask you this. What is something, because we want to replace an activity with something that's going to move us forward towards our goal. So what is something that you could eliminate from your day that you could replace it with an activity that moves you forward? Is there
Useless
anything?
emails.
What was that?
Useless emails.
Useless emails. Okay. Other people, so useless emails. Yeah, if they're actually useless, yeah. What do most of us in a social networking business
Mhm.
do? Does this look familiar?
Scroll, yeah.
Right?
I
And
do.
it is, right? So this is just mindless
Nothing.
scrolling. Okay? So what if we eliminated mindless scrolling?
Mhm.
We're going to have some people. I wish my mom was on the call. She's going to laugh when I say this, but if you have mom as one of your friends, you get to see multiple posts of cats. Like she'll post one cat photo and then it's like all these, and I'm like, Mom, what is that? Well, I'm just, I thought it was cute. And I'm like, okay, one cute is good. I don't need 10. So it's mindless. And this Preston says, if you are not able to replace mindless Facebook scrolling, you are not able to lead a team. Your mindless Facebook scrolling is more important than moving forward. She said, so then he said it this way, and I mean, it made me laugh out loud. I said, he goes, you're going to be time blocking. What in your day do you have to get done? And then you're going to plug in on your phone a time, and it's going to pop up in the day. Let's say 15 minutes of mindless scrolling. That's all you get. So at 11 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock in the morning, you get a notice that says, time to scroll mindlessly on Facebook. You have 15 minutes, go. Okay, I better do it, right? Instead of letting it just happen. So if you want to mindlessly go look at my mom's cat posts for 15 minutes, you could do that for 15 minutes in that one moment, but not all through the day, okay? So we need to get you started with getting at least one. We would like to have 3, Anju, right? Because we want to work towards 20. So you have to think about how much time am I willing to give in order to get to that 20. So we want it to be realistic. You could say, oh, well, 3 hours a day. You're not going to do Facebook for 3 hours a day. You're going to mindlessly scroll. You're going to do other stuff. So you have to be intentional. So you're going to time block. You're going to make sure you have everything else taken care of. And then you're going to find, you're probably talking to get to gold, 20 people or more. And honestly, if we're going to have a gold team, we're looking at like 70 total to have that, let's say $1,000 a month, but we want 20 now. You might look at, 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
What does that look like?
Mhm.
Right? And it can't be an hour of multitasking. Because
Of what?
multitasking can't be this has to be an hour of, or 40 minutes of things that are going to build move your needle forward.
Mhm.
So what things move us forward, team? What are the things that we do?
Calling people.
Calling people. Why don't we call people?
But they're so dumb, they don't listen.
They're so dumb, they won't listen. All right?
Scared of rejection.
Fear of rejection. Okay? Why don't we do things? Why don't we pick up the phone and call?
I'm afraid that we'll never get to the conversation, or I'll seem way too focused in the conversation or not focused enough.
So you're being pushy.
Well, yeah, I'm afraid of being pushy on the phone. I'm not afraid of being pushy in any other way. It's just on the phone. Because I can talk for hours on the phone. Like I was on the phone with my sister for 3 hours the other day. But of course I hadn't seen her in forever. But when it comes to phone conversations and in person, but more so phone conversations, I just don't know how to balance that.
Okay, I'm going to pick on you.
Okay.
All right. So, Abby,
Yeah.
you're afraid to make the call. All right, so I'm just going to write it on afraid to phone.
I think she's not saying that. I think she's saying that she's afraid to, when she gets on the phone, how to
Okay,
bring it
so
up.
not afraid to make the phone call, but what stops her from doing it?
Yeah.
So I could say, not picking up the phone. And why are you not picking up the phone? Because you're afraid.
That I'll seem pushy in the conversation, or I won't be focused enough, and it'll be useless, wasted time.
Okay, so you're going to seem pushy. What happens if you seem pushy? What would happen if you were pushy?
They would shut down.
If that person shuts down, what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen?
I'm going to feel like a failure, and I'm going to think that they hate me, and that they won't ever want to talk to me again.
And if you feel like a failure, what's that mean?
That means you're not going to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to lose momentum.
Do you see the steps? So you don't make the phone call because you might seem pushy. And if you seem pushy, they're going to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you feel like a failure. Almost every fear that we talk about, I would be able to walk you through, and you're going to end up saying, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, or I'm a failure.
Mhm.
Almost every single fear.
Yes.
For every one of you, it comes down to this last thing of, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. It's going to make me feel like
Yep.
I'm going to be rejected. And here's what happens in your brain, according to Preston. What happens in your brain is you go to the phone, or you go to your video, your FaceTime app, right, Tiffany? So you'd be using that. Whatever system you use for making contact, you start to go there, and your brain doesn't go through this. Your brain goes zip. Your brain immediately says, if I make this call, I'm going to feel like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
might not consciously think that's happening, but our brain has somehow been wired that way. And so we have to find a way to stop the process and let our brain actually go through it. So we have to stop this again. We have to find an action that's going to change that. And if it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pick up the phone, we're going to find that it doesn't mean that we're a failure. It doesn't mean that we're worthless or useless or we don't know enough. Okay? So this is a step that seems to happen and we don't even realize it. There's a bigger reason why we're not reaching out. Okay? Or if I believe, if my brain jumps to this step, then the minute that I mention plexus, whether I sound like it or not, in my head I'm going, I hope I'm not too pushy. I hope they're ready to hear this. Or if I say plexus in my next sentence, they're going to shut down. They're not going to want to talk to me again. So you start going through this when you're not even thinking about it. So we're setting this goal. We're saying, okay, I'm willing to work 40 minutes in a way that every day I do one thing that's going to move my business forward. If that one thing is making one phone call, better than making no phone calls, right? So we're moving forward one step at a time. Now, some people, they don't have a problem with this at all. They could make 10 calls in a day. But if they're making 10 calls in a day and they're having no success, there's a disconnect, right? Then something else is happening. Is it the way that we're approaching? So we have to have, we can have the greatest confidence in our products, the greatest confidence in our business, the greatest confidence in this team, but yet we're not bringing people on. So what do we have to step back and look at? It's either we're talking to the wrong people or we are coming across as in, I have what you need. Let me tell you everything you need instead of asking, what do you need? So when Preston Pugmire offered up this training, he asks us, how did you feel writing, getting your credit card out and swiping it for that amount of money? And it wasn't, it really wasn't that big of a deal of money for some people. And he said, did I twist your arm? Did I come to your house and say, you better do this or you're going to fail? No. He gave us enough information so that we felt the worth, the value, and we twisted our own arm to get there. So our job, if we want to get these people onto our team, we have to know what their pain point is. We have to know what they need in their life. And we get that by having them say it out loud. Sometimes it sounds really weird. I already know what it would feel like if I had constipation every single day. I know how bad that would be. So if I talk to someone and say, wow, gosh, you have constipation most of the time. Wow, how does that make you feel? Well, they're probably thinking, well, you're an idiot.
Excuse me, Wendy, could you ask people to mute themselves? I'm getting feedback and noise from, I don't know who. I'm hearing you talk on somebody else's thing. So.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. If you can mute yourself, and then now that we have more people on here, I was expecting a small crowd. So let's think about that is if you're struggling to get people to join the team or to join you, and right now we're talking about goals, right? If you want to make $1,000 a month, you need to have 70 people on your team. How are you going to get 70 people on your team? I know you're looking at your face going, how is it 70? 70 people would be 7 times 5 is 350, right? 35. So 70 times 5 points is 350. Each pay point is $3. So 3 times 350 is about $10.50. So I'm not talking about all of the other great stuff. I'm just talking about pay points alone. That's how I'm figuring out how many people we would need. Okay? And so we want to work towards those goals. And if we want to get that number of people onto our team, then we've got to figure out how is it that some people can talk to someone and they join right away, and other people talk and they're turned off, turned off. One, quite possible you're talking to the wrong people. We talk to people we're not afraid of. We talk to people we're not intimidated by. And people that, depending on your pay grade, like if you are living on, if you're not living the high life, if you're not living in, making 6 figures a year, it might be hard to talk to someone who makes 6 figures a year because you're thinking, what do I have to offer you? So we talk to people at our pay grade or lower. And depending on where we are, they might not have any money to join us. They might have a mindset of coming from perspective of lack instead of abundance. So they're thinking, I can't afford your product. It's too expensive. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of us taking these products because we know they're not too expensive, right? So we are either talking to the wrong people or we are trying to twist their arm before they know the value we have to offer. So if you need 20 people on your team, you have to start moving your needle. Let's work on getting one person and doing that successfully. So we look at our lists. If we're talking to people and they're not joining, then they're the wrong people. Let's figure out why, what was wrong about that. They're not open. They're not interested. They don't have the money. They don't have an understanding. So we want to be able to really get to the pain point of what is going on for them. I have not been one who talks to people about business. 5.5 years. And the reason because most people, if I start talking business, my brain tells me they're going to say, you're scammy. You just want my money. You're in a pyramid. Right? That's something that my brain tells me. That if I offer the business, I think, Rebecca, we've got you on 2 spots. So my brain takes me down that path. Okay, so I have to somehow change that thought, and that's going to be my positive affirmations. I need to tell myself, I have a great business opportunity. I have a great product. Now, this is my business. If I choose to grow my business through product use and then them wanting to share, it's my business. I need to do that. It might take me longer to reach a level that I want, but it's okay. And you guys, you have to understand your way of doing your business is okay if it's okay with you. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like if you're okay hitting gold and staying there, and it took 5 years to get there to make $1,000 a month, if you're okay, then that's great. Don't tell yourself there's something wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. We have plenty of people who are happy just making $200 a month, and they're okay with that. It's when we start comparing ourselves and going, well, why, you know, I've been in this for 4 years and I'm a silver and I'm not, then there's something wrong with me. No, there's not. It's a timing thing.
Can I interject something? Okay, I've been at this, it'll be 4 years at the end of March. And your limiting beliefs and what you said, they're exactly mine. I don't feel like I can lead. And when I get people on, I feel like I don't hold them because I know how to be organized. I do. But it's just keeping everything in place so that you're moving them along and giving them 5-star customer service so that they stay. But 2 things here that you said that triggered me. Number one of the most frustrating things, and you all can say if you agree with this, but for me personally, and I know other people that are frustrated by it too, it's really hard to hear emeralds, sapphires, diamonds when they say, I don't know how I got here, you know, just happened. Like, it's like, on the one hand, we're told, you know, you got to time block, put things aside, don't scroll, focus, do your business. And even when you do that, it's still hard as heck. I mean, really, really hard. So it's really frustrating to hear people say, even though it's true, that, like Cheyenne, like, I didn't even have a team page till I was Emerald because I didn't even know I needed one. I mean, it's like, how the heck do people do that? How does someone go diamond in a year? It just seems unfathomable. And there is like this thing in my mind. I'm like, how do people do that? I don't understand. I try to do everything the right way. And I'm in gold since 2017. And then that's the second thing. I want to be upfront. Like, I'm super upfront with people now about like the welcome packs, you know, like the price differential. But let's talk about gold. I don't make $1,000. I have in the past when I've had my PV up, okay, with enough customers, but I've lost customers too, because again, why? Because I'm not giving them the best customer service. So my PV wasn't even 500 this month. I don't know what my pay will be. But if you have only your own PV and you are exactly gold, you will make exactly 300 plus a little more dollars.
Right.
So when you say 1,000, I find that to be like, that's deceptive for people. And when you say you have 70 people, if you have 70 people, you're now senior gold and you're supposed to be making almost $2,000 a month. I'm looking at my little thing. Before you get a second job, think about this.
Right.
Okay, so silver at $422 a month? No way. No way.
Right.
If your PV's not up, you can't do it. So I just think it's deceptive for all of us here. I get where you're coming from, but to throw out 1,000 for gold, it's not true.
Right.
You've got to have customers. And if you don't have customers, not
So
going to do it.
that's why I looked at it differently. And again, Preston Pugmire was the one who started looking at it this way. He goes, how many would you need to make $1,000? 20 people is not going to get it for you. Look at pay points and say, I'm going to need a team of 70. Okay. That's where you're going to get pay points that are $1,000. And then your PV could be just 100 on your own. Someone who, like, I can show you how to make $1,000 a month on just sales with no team. But we would have to look at how many triplex, how many, PV would you need, right? To get there. So you could make money just on sales. So somebody says, I don't want to have a team, I just want to sell a product. They could sell tons of Vital Biome and, but they would be salespeople. So that's why we're looking mostly at, let's talk about getting something that's sustainable. And I do want to address those two things because it sadly has come out of my mouth. I got to Emerald, I don't know how, and I would say that. But you know what? I do know how. I was one of those people who said, I'm not going to post like some crazy woman. And I did. I was posting constantly. And I was posting when it was non-compliant. I was posting, you have fibromyalgia, you have this, you have that. I was posting testimonies nonstop. But what happened for me was that I had a couple of people who said, if this works, I can sell the heck out of it. Then, and I'm gonna be very honest here, I had people that came on when I was in a place of going, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, but I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was afraid. All I knew is I had backed up and I took on other things in life. Now I know, and it took me 5.5 years to figure this out. I have to read this because I don't have my chat on. Tiffany said, I wonder if those who achieve rank up fast are the ones with bigger warm markets. Not necessarily, because most of my level ones are not from my warm market. I burned my warm market by posting, and they didn't join me. But what it did is it gave me some confidence to talk to people who were outside of that warm market or somebody that they knew. Like I started growing my Facebook page. They weren't warm market. They were new to my Facebook page and would get information. And that's some people warm market, yes, but for the most of us, we burn through that pretty quickly. Those are the people that we would trust. Hey, join me on this. And they all go, you're crazy. That's a scam or a pyramid scheme. So we had to break through those limitations. But I realize now, when I became afraid and I jumped back, Angela, in her wisdom, recognized where people were trying. And she is a great, consistent trainer. She puts posts up for things. She's training. She was able to recognize and pull people in and train them where I wasn't. Because I'd go, I don't know what to say to them. I don't know, go post. Use the product, you feel good. I didn't know how to do it. And so she was basically, and I talked to Cheyenne in Hawaii. I had a chance to really give time to just talk to her. And she is very different from the Reds. She's very yellow. And so she was just loving on people and getting them on products. And then they were getting people on products. And of course, she's out in Texas where everybody's willing to jump right in. Not for a lot of us who are in places where they go, nope, that's a scam and I don't want it. And again, it was a time when you could be totally non-compliant. So she didn't know what was happening because she didn't expect it to happen that fast. I didn't believe it was going to happen. I've got 2 network marketing histories where I failed and I quit. So my brain says, oh, you're in network marketing. It's going to fail. Don't put too much in it. Don't expect too much. So for me, I was successful because Angela would see who I was connecting to the team. I never stopped sharing. I just didn't know how to train them. I would share, I'd get them in the team page, share, get them in the team page. And they would take what they wanted from there. So I talked to the right people. The wrong people didn't stick with me. They left. They gave up. The right people stayed because they had it in their mind that they could do it whether I was there or not. Okay. So I'm now starting to look at myself and going, okay, I can help people get to silver. And if I can help them get their people to silver, the duplication happens. They don't have to be able to get me or, I don't want to have to try and, Pam, I don't want to have to try and get you to Emerald because that scares the crap out of me. I can help you get to senior gold. Like that's the next step. I can help you re-rank, or but I can't see myself helping you get to emerald because I don't know what your limiting beliefs are. I don't know what's blocking you from moving that needle forward, right?
Same as you.
Okay,
When you said them, it's the exact same thing.
right? So I have to start thinking, how am I going to move that needle forward? Went to, I had mentioned it in the group, in the chat. I said, okay, what's something that I can replace? If I sit and watch TV, then at night, that's my time to just kind of to settle down. Well, if I was working a full-time job, I might have to replace a night of that and join a group in some way, whether it's a Facebook group or learn Instagram. The Instagram training that I got to hear a little bit, that we heard of in Hawaii, and this is huge. She said she doesn't go and spend time commenting and liking and posting for other Plexus people. She doesn't go and hashtag Plexus on Instagram to get more Plexus people, because then you end up with all Plexus posts in your feed. You have to intentionally get other people to see your posts and intentionally work on 1 to 5 new people that you're constantly building that relationship with. And she said Facebook is we want to call it a warm market. Almost everybody on your Facebook is there because either you have mutual friends or they've known you for a while. So they've seen your posts, right? On Instagram, she said there are more people who are willing to buy from you than people on Facebook.
Are you talking about Rebecca right now? Did Rebecca do the training?
Who did our training?
Did Rebecca Folks do it?
Yes, but it was her with, Rebecca was doing the interviewing, but it was somebody, I would have to think of who it was.
Just FYI, Rebecca, y'all should go join. I mean, she does a lot of, that's a sidekick for her. She does a lot of great training tips and stuff.
Yes.
But Instagram, I do. But again, it's like, you're right. You have to kind of study it because you see all these beautiful posts people do. And it's like, oh.
So and here's what they were saying. You don't have to be a photographer or an Instagrammer. They just want to see you. And she doesn't even post every day. She does stories every day. So if you learn how to do stories, that's what people are watching. They're not going through, they're watching stories. And as a matter of fact, she said the way she learned it is she turned on her Instagram, clicked on stories, and just let it run. And she got used to seeing the stories and learning, oh, you're literally just posting random stuff about your day. But in stories, you can throw Plexus in there a lot because it doesn't stay long. And so she does this. She just does stories. And you go watch her stories. It's like all this stuff. A post, you don't want to have Plexus because you don't want them just to be all Plexus all the time. But they'll watch your stories once they follow you. So I just thought that was interesting that she said, you don't have to have thousands of followers on Instagram to be successful either. You find someone that maybe they watched your story and they commented, and you start working on a relationship. Is this somebody that I can work with? Is this somebody, you go and follow them back. But it really is more saying, be intentional with what you're doing. And if you only have 30 minutes a day of time, then don't go and randomly scroll. Don't spend 20 minutes liking and commenting on Plexus people's posts, because that's just going to show Facebook that that's who you should be seeing. If you have 30 minutes of time on Facebook, you take 30 minutes and you find 4 people or 5 people that you want to start connecting with, and you comment and post and message them. And you can message them, hey, I saw your story, it was great. So in my brain, so here's my limiting belief. Well, if I'm not commenting and posting on my team and my friends and my upline, then I'm failing them. But then I go to my page the next day and who do I see? My team, my friends who aren't interested in Plexus and my upline. I don't see the people who I want to reach. So you're going to have to set a time where you go, okay, I need to go and specifically comment and message or whatever this group of people. Don't make it huge. Don't tell yourself you have to do 10 people a day. How many times do we listen to trainings and they go, you should be reaching out, 10 new reach outs a day. Even if we do, what is it? They do the 5-3-1 or something like that, where, 5 new reach outs, 3 new customers, 1 new follow. That is overwhelming for someone who's not even doing 1 a day. So you start where you are. If you're doing 0 a day, then tomorrow I want you to do 1. If you're doing 2 a day and you've been successful, go to 3. Okay? But what we need to do is we need to change our mind and say, this is something we can do. And guys, I've got you here. It's been an hour. I want you to start thinking about what is that one little thing that I can do to help move that needle, to help move my business forward. Baby steps, absolutely. We think that we're supposed to race to Emerald because people do it. And I don't want to apologize that I'm Emerald because I don't want to have to go back to work, at teaching. I don't want to apologize, but I understand when I sat in front of Jennifer Booker Leith, who is a diamond, and she's amazing. And she said, I've been questioning my worth. Do I deserve this year? And I'm going, are you kidding me? You're amazing. And she thinks, I don't deserve this. And I'm not. And so when you get here, and you guys will get here, when you get here, it's a real feeling. It's a real experience of how the heck do I help somebody else? And it's because I look at myself and go, how do I help Pam get to Emerald? I can't. I can help you to your next level. And I can only help you to your next level if you are ready to go to that next level. And that's where the mindset is going to have to change. So, and for those who came on after, you can watch back in the beginning, I mentioned find your 2, what did I call them? The 2 beliefs that you're, I'm so organized. You should see all the papers all over my desk. Limiting beliefs, right? It's horrible. You have to determine what are your top 2 limiting beliefs, because whether you believe it or not, your belief is going to lead to your thought, or your thoughts are just like beliefs are just thoughts that you think over and over and over. So if you constantly think, gosh, I'm just not good enough. Gosh, I'll never be a senior gold. I'll never be a senior gold. That becomes a belief, and you will act on that belief. So we need to change it by doing something. There's got to be an action that happens when that trigger happens. So Pam, real quick, I told you my triggers when I get nervous that I can't lead someone to success. What would you say is something that triggers? When do you start thinking that thing of yourself?
When I see people's orders go out and I didn't do what I said I was going to do, which is keep a schedule and make sure that I touch every customer and every ambassador on my team, level 1s if they're, level 1s for sure, but even level 2s if they don't have the support, and their order runs and I haven't done that. I mean, that's when I know I have not given them good customer care.
Pam, what does that make you think about yourself?
Huh?
What does that make you think?
It makes me feel like I'm not a good leader. I'm not a good caretaker.
And what happens when you think you're not a good leader? What does that mean?
That I need a lot of work on myself. I mean, I am getting there. Honestly, I have, I got all kinds of tools that are all right here. I just, I'm the same way you are. It's like, if things are not in place, I just scatter. I become scatterbrained. I'm not focused anymore.
So you have a limiting belief that you have to be totally organized to be successful.
Mm-hmm. A type, baby.
Okay, so your belief is you have to be organized.
Mhm.
So you have two things you can do. One, you can keep worrying about being organized, or you set a schedule to say, I will get this stuff organized and put away, and then don't let that affect you, which is easier said than done. Like I
Mhm.
hate being disorganized, but the pain of organizing is worse than the pain of being disorganized. So I'll stay disorganized. Like I always have to think, what is driving me? So if your limiting belief right now is that you can't be successful until you're organized enough,
Yep.
that's going to block you every time. Okay.
Yep.
So all of the other stuff is not the issue. The issue is really falling on, so how do we change that limiting belief? And I'll link the pages, whether I have to scan them or whatever, in our group chat, in our message, so that you can work through the homework that I did. And it's like, here are the beliefs, what actions or not inaction